Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure y'all are not surprised that I'm going to have to give Texas yet another L. Look at that. My hand is actually starting to work a little bit more normal since I broke it. Have to give Texas another L, and I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of the most disgusting stories I have read in a while because of the pure nature of it and because of the fact that this mother and her reaction. Let me before we get into it, I got to give you a disclaimer so I don't get flagged acting like I didn't warn you guys, but let me warn you first. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. I know some people wonder, like, why do you have to play that every single time, Jay? You know why? Because every single time I go into the comment section, I see somebody saying, well, why you got to disparage women? Why you got to make jokes? Why you got to do all the extras? And, you know, if they took that same energy and applied it to people who are mistreating their children, we'd actually have a better world, don't you think? Have that same energy from when people are hurting kids. That's all I got to say. But the woman that you see on my screen, and I'm getting this story from people.com, thank you to all the places that posted this story, though. Three months after an arrest warrant was issued for a Texas mother who allegedly left her 2 children alone for months. So let me warn you, I don't know if it's exactly 2 months, but I know it was a large amount of time, an unusual amount of time, but they're thinking about 2 months. The individual that you guys see on my screen looking like an exploded pineapple, her name is Raven Yates. Yes, like Andrea Yates. And they both abused children. Was taken into custody multiple states away in Alabama. And you'd have to ask, what the hell was she doing in Alabama and left her children in Texas that was so important? Does anybody want to take a guess as to what that is? Why do y'all think she left her kids alone for at least 2 months? We'll get back to that. In the interim, her post on social media seemed to directly respond to social media posts made by authorities about the case. Roman Forest Chief of Police Stephen Carlisle tells to people.com. According to a press release from the RFPD, Yates, the mother, was apprehended on March the 8th in Mobile, Alabama, at an apartment complex where she was staying with a male friend. So let me ask you guys this. If there were a fire that broke out, if a child were to have starved, if a child were to have ingested some cleaning chemicals, if a child would have fallen in a bathtub and hurt themselves or anything like that, you'd have to ask, what was it for? And according to the report, and it's not my words, it says that she was staying at an apartment complex with a male friend, and you're talking about probably better than 60 days ago. Just left her kids. I'll get to the kids' ages here in just a second. Got to get this off my screen. The mother, Yates, is accused of abandoning her 12-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. Please catch that. And yes, look at those pictures. Look at the house. Look at all of that stuff. 12 years old and 3 years old. So you left a 12-year-old girl. Matter of fact, I want y'all to think about this. When we're talking about how we breed children, how we're breeding adults, raising good children to become good adults, what does that do to the psyche of a child when a child is seeing how much you value them, which is little to nothing, and you leave this 12-year-old girl because you're saying the phallus of a man the ejaculation of a man, the very thing that brought these children into this world beyond their wishes, that brought them into this world, is so important that you would recklessly abandon your children when that's the very thing that got you children that you didn't want, ma'am. Everybody catch that? And yes, that was her being arrested. Let's go back to this. I'm going to try my best not to cuss, but please don't get mad if I do. I know YouTube, actually, matter of fact, YouTube, shout out to YouTube, by the way. They gave us some more leeway, and they actually said, you know what, we're not going to just keep demonetizing y'all videos because y'all use a few cuss words. Because I'm pretty sure they saw videos like mine, and they're like, you know what, these people are really doing some dumb-ass stuff. And I think some of these things deserve some cuss words when you describe it. That was her being arrested after she was picked up. Do y'all see this? We're talking about the mentality. We're talking about the fact that you're being arrested because they found out your children were left at home alone. And you're just like, what does it matter? My boyfriend was more important. Getting some dick was more important. Baiting men, man, I think it makes it even more sick, the fact that, and this is why I dislike so many men out there. Shout out to the good ladies out there. The fact that this man probably knew that this big, thick, bloated woman probably had children. He probably had been up in between her thighs. You can feel the difference between a woman that's had kids and a woman that hasn't. She probably smells like she probably has been involved with multiple penises. You know how it just, when you're just with a woman that ain't right, that just don't know how to not have unprotected sex. You know what I'm saying? Just the women that got that hot what do they call that? Hot girl summer? Got that hot girl summer smell between their legs. Yes, that's this woman right here. See, she's in the pool, of course, right? Looking like a big, thick, light-skinned whale. My goodness. Need to be focused on doing some sit-ups rather than going to go sit on a man. That is and I can almost guarantee y'all, she's probably in her 20s. I didn't see her age in here. But I'm just saying. I gotta really, really talk about how these men probably knew that she had kids and didn't give a damn and was probably sleeping with her unprotected. And if you know that that's what she was doing to her own kids, what you think she gonna do to y'all? And that's where I gotta start getting on to the men. Ladies, is that okay? Can I get on to the men for a second, please? Because these kids got dads, and they dads didn't have any idea that this was going on for whatever reason. Matter of fact, I think she actually, I'm going to talk about it here in a moment. I think she ended up getting caught up because of one of the dads, which is actually a really good thing. But I just think that's ridiculous, the fact that us men, and I say us, including myself, we continue to keep putting ourselves in these positions. And then we want to go cry about it. We want to go whine about it when the rules are not set up in our favor. And maybe they should be. But as long as they're not, maybe we can't continue to keep putting ourselves in this position. How about that, fellas? And I know I got some fellas out there. Matter of fact, shout out to my brothers in the chat right now. But I know I got some men out there, some real men that understand exactly where I'm coming from. But let's move past that real quick. She's accused of leaving her 12-year-old daughter, who's a baby, prepubescent, and her 3-year-old son on September the 28th in Texas, according to the RFPD. The 12-year-old's father notified authorities on November the 14th that the children were left at home alone. Let me say that again for people who might not have caught that. The 12-year-old's father notified authorities on November the 14th that the children were left at home alone. What does that mean? That means she already got 2 baby daddies and was probably working on a 3rd. They talked about the 12-year-old's dad, meaning the 3-year-old probably had a different father. But that's the way it works in the community that shares my skin color. That's the way it works. Boy, it's a lot more I want to say. I'm going to try to parse my words because I know I'll be getting in trouble saying some of the stuff I say. The children were left at home alone since September. The father, who had not been named, flew in from California where he had been working to check on the children. Damn. So she's in Alabama, got kids in Texas, and got one of the baby daddies in California. Sucking dick all over the world. Wow. That's impressive, lady. She just looks like she smells bad, like a cup of spoiled milk or something. I don't know. It's just, man. Anyway, the father, and shout out to the father, had been informed that his child's mother had been seen in Mobile, Alabama without her children and realized that they were at home alone because he had been asked by his daughter to send food regularly. Yates, the mother, is facing 2 counts of abandoned endangered child without the intent to return, according to RFPD, and I think that's correct. That's a good charge. It is not clear if she has entered a plea or retained an attorney to comment on her behalf. In the time period after authorities issued an arrest warrant before Yates was arrested, Yates, the mother, was actively making social media posts about the situation, according to a press release. That is her Facebook page, and she calls herself famous. More like infamous, famous, infamous, and yes, that is the same woman right there. I'm pretty sure that's the same woman, I think. If not, I'll probably have to delete that picture, but I thought that was the same woman when I looked the story up. I don't know. If that's the same woman, then damn. But makeup is the devil. In the same time period after authorities issued an arrest warrant before Yates was arrested, she was actively making social media posts. I think it was Facebook or one or the other, Facebook, Instagram, something like that. Anyway, Carlisle, the RFPD chief, tells people that authorities didn't initially release the story to the public because they wanted to try and track Yates down first. But when they were unable to, they informed the public, which caught a lot of people's attention. They saw something, heard something, and said something. So good job, everybody out there. Great job. She saw it just like we figured she would, and then she started posting actively on social media because she's that type of person that likes attention. And I like the fact that he said that. He says authorities followed her social media posts, hoping it would lead to information on her whereabouts, but ultimately a tip was what led to her arrest. He said we were starting to get tips, and of course a lot of tips were dead ends, but some of them actually got us closer to her. That final tip is what told the U.S. Marshals Gulf Coast Violent Offender Fugitive Task Force where she was at. Damn. During the 3 months between the arrest warrant and her apprehension, numerous posts were made on Gates' Instagram and Facebook. So there we go, Instagram and Facebook. On February the 11th, she posted a selfie video on her Instagram with the caption, "When you're minding your own business and know the truth." Think about how horrible that is, that you left babies at home for months by themselves and telling people to mind their business. There's no reason for a person like this to ever have children again. There's no reason for her to have reproductive organs. Hashtag TTO, hashtag TTT. If y'all know what that means, y'all can type it in the chat. I try not to utter those words because I don't want to get in trouble, but y'all know what that means. Later that day, she posted a video of a fridge and a cabinet with food and clips of a child eating cereal near a computer and playing in a pool. Additional videos posted that day also featured a young girl, which was probably her 12-year-old daughter. Carlisle tells people that the photos and videos used in these posts were all from before Yates allegedly abandoned the children. So here's what she was doing. She was trying to make it seem to the untrained eye that her children were okay by posting old videos, old pictures of her kids. Like, oh, they're okay, they're good. She probably would call every once in a while. The dad eventually ended up finding out his kid was by himself. And she posted. So she thought this out. And I think that makes it even worse. The fact that she gave it that much thought to post old pictures. So I think that deserves easily, what, another 5 more years in prison? Carlisle says that some of the videos were social media posts were direct responses to authorities speaking about the case. Wow. She that damn dumb. On TV, she saw me say that the cupboards were empty when we went in the home where the children were found. So she started reacting to that post by posting pictures of cupboards with food in them, which she did leave them plenty of food when she left. So I guess she thought that food was just going to stay there forever, right? But being gone that long, it's too long. The food supply is going to go, according to Carlisle. But she never did deny that she left the kids alone, but she started posting pictures of her with the kids, and honestly, I think she was enjoying the attention. As of March the 14th, which was 3 days ago, depending on when you're watching this, Yates has been listed in custody on the Mobile County Sheriff's Office website. She is currently awaiting extradition back to Montgomery County, Texas, but it's unclear how long the extradition process will take, nor does it matter as long as they got her. And at least she can't get pregnant by no more men while she's in custody. At least we hope. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Hey, look, man, stuff happens. Here we go. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys are doing me a favor, please click that thumbs up. We want to have one thumb up for everybody watching this video right now. Even leave a comment if you want to just kind of give your thoughts on this. Did I say something wrong? But let me know what you guys think. We have somebody in the chat who asked, what is TTO and what is TTT? Well, I will explain it like this. We have a lot of hashtags on this show. Hashtag hood hoes, love hood dick. Hashtag live by the thug, die by the thug. Hashtag stupid is a stupid thugs. Hashtag when you date thugs, you date death. Hashtag no jail time, give them hell time. Hashtag stupid names equal stupid things. Hashtag TTO and TTT, which means take the ovaries. Hashtag TTT, take the testicles. That means they don't deserve their reproductive organs. I'm just saying. Y'all ready for this?
This Montgomery County mother accused of abandoning her 2 children was all smiles when she was arrested 3 states away.
Yeah, kind of a bizarre photo there. Well, officers found Ray Yates in Alabama more than 2 months after she vanished.
ABC 13's Brianna Connor is getting new facts on her arrest. And Brianna, what's next for this woman?
Raven Yates still needs to be processed in Mobile, Alabama before she's brought back here to Montgomery County to face the charges against her. Detectives working this case had been looking for Yates for about 3 months. I'm told law enforcement in Mobile had to break down the bedroom door of an older man's apartment to find her.
The popularity of it.
They said an older man. I'm going to rewind this so y'all can hear this. That was a really strange comment. Listen to this again.
Law enforcement in Mobile had to break down the bedroom door of an older man's apartment to find her.
They had to break down the apartment door to an older man's apartment. So I want y'all to keep in mind that she has a 12-year-old. So I'm assuming she's at least, what, 28? Maybe 30? Which would have put her at 18? What is an older man to a grown adult woman. What is he, like 80? Sheesh.
The popularity of it got a lot of people interested in it.
Raven Yates gained thousands of followers and has been trending on social media ever since she made headlines for accusations of abandonment. Roman Forest police say she left her 12-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son all alone for 2 months. Investigators say they had to fend for themselves with little food or medicine at this house on Maplewood Ridge Drive while Yates lived.
That's actually a really nice looking house too. I wonder how the hell she was able to afford that and not even be there. Y'all can't tell me that this woman wasn't selling that wasn't selling that steaky snatch. Golly.
Alabama.
I've never seen anything like that, and I've never seen anybody play into the camera and play into the social media as she has.
The entire time, Yates was posting provocative images like these online while fully aware there was a warrant out for her arrest. Roman Forest Police Chief Stephen Carlisle says tips poured in from the public, and that's what eventually led to her arrest in Mobile. This photo capturing Yates in cuffs and seemingly unbothered by the allegations that she put her own children in danger.
I think was playing for the camera. She wanted to have a smile. She wanted to look good.
Yates' 12-year-old is with her father, who lives out of state. Police say the child was afraid to tell her dad what was happening at first because she was worried she'd be separated from her brother, who has a different dad. At last check, Yates' other children were safe with relatives while she prepares to head back home now.
We're waiting for her to be extradited back to Montgomery County, and then, of course, we'll be able to interview her and find out her side of the story. And
my whole thing is, like I say, when you look at her, and I guess really value is only what people are willing to pay. But I'm just looking at her, and shout out to my brother Kurt Dog. I see you in the chat. Shout out to my brother. He's got his own emojis in there. You guys are channel members. You should be able to click the Kurt Dog emoji. But I just wonder, and I look at this woman, and I'm just like, I'm a judge. I'm sorry. I'm going to judge. And I'm just like, who is paying for that? Man, so if you think about it, with them saying a much older man, like when she got some sugar daddies or something, I mean, just, man, I didn't know that there was a shortage of women like that. Like, goodness gracious. But anyway, let's keep going.
A Montgomery County mother is on the run tonight. The Roman Forest Police Department is showcasing this Facebook post with 31-year-old Raven Yates. Yates is wanted for abandoning her 12-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son for almost 2 months.
The children were left to care for themselves inside of a home in East Montgomery County. KPRC2's Bill Baraha spoke with the Roman Forest Police Department. And Bill, how are they doing tonight?
Well, surprisingly, they are healthy and in good shape. That, according to the police department here, they are also now.
Yvonne J said that's a Section 8 house. Man, look, okay, let me tell y'all this, because I'm kind of conflicted, and I think I've said this before, because I have heard of some places like, look, I'm not necessarily down with you giving people on Section 8 like the shittiest houses ever. Like, I've always thought that was like a crummy thing to do. Like, you're just like, hey, you know, this is the best we can give you. It's the cheapest option. Do what you can do. You know, get yourself out of the situation or whatever the case is, which most people don't. But then I'm conflicted because I'm like, you have a couple of situations where you have, there was a lady, y'all remember the lady that had chained and handcuffed her twin kids up together and had them like locked up in a basement or something like that in her house? And she had a big, huge, nice, brand new looking house. And I'm just like, for the working class person, man, we just get screwed no matter how you slice it. So even if you put them in crappy houses, they ain't having to pay for them. But then you turn around and give them brand new houses, but we out busting our ass every day trying to pay bills, running across country and having to pay for insurance and your kids and just medical and everything that you can think of, when even people who are married struggle to pay their bills. If they miss one check, they might be in trouble. And they're doing it the legal way. And I guess I'm just conflicted because I'm like, what are these people on Section 8 doing besides putting themselves in bad positions and essentially getting rewarded for it? For you to be a mother of 2 kids and you not even be at the MFN house. God, I want to cuss so bad. I'm just really pissed off about this. She's got a free big ass house. And like, that'll give me time to go travel and go get some dick across country. Boy, can't be that level of stupid, but let's keep going.
With family members in Alabama, police say that they were in this home here just behind me from September 28th until November 14th. The 12-year-old little girl allegedly scared to report their situation to anyone for fear that she would be separated from her 3-year-old little brother. The search is on for Raven Yates. The Roman Forest Police Department putting her on blast on their Facebook page and accusing the 31-year-old mother of leaving her 12-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son to fend for themselves in this East Montgomery County home.
They weren't registered in school, so nobody noticed.
Police Chief Stephen Carlisle of the Roman Forest Police Department saying
she didn't even have these kids in school. Man, I'm sorry, but like I said, I don't necessarily agree. Like, I think there should maybe be some middle ground. Like, maybe you don't put people on Section 8 in the worst houses, but maybe you don't put them in just built from the ground up, brand new. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really have the answers. I don't even know how we're even able to fund that. Just give away big ass, nice, free houses. I don't get it. I don't really get it. I mean, we out here struggling. I'm trying to work my ass off to get my credit up to 700 and 800 points. Trying to clear out some of my bills so I can be prepared to maybe buy a house. When if I had a vagina, all I got to do is pop out 2 kids and there you go. Here's the keys. Congratulations, ma'am. Congratulations.
children survived off of what they could.
The conditions inside the house did look like a 12-year-old was taking care of a 3-year-old. Miraculously and thankfully, they were both healthy and they had creative ways of getting food here. So,
and that included calling Dad with a cover story.
Yeah, they called Dad with the cover story saying, hey, Mom's at work, can you send some food?
It wasn't until their dad, who lives in California.
So she encouraged the kids to lie. Probably forced them to lie.
Was notified by Yates' family that she was in Mobile, Alabama without the children, that he knew something was wrong, according to police.
We flew out here from California and on November 14th and found that they had been here alone.
The Facebook post says Yates is now wanted here in Montgomery County.
You know what? I forgot actually real quick because I know we had some people asking about some of our hashtags. What is our most popular hashtag on this channel? I actually forgot about this one. Hashtag babies for benefits. And let me explain to you why I say babies for benefits. Because I say that people like this, it's not everybody, it's not all black women, it's not all white women, it's not all single parents, but there are too many women out there. You know, I had a rental property on Section 8, and the check hit on time every month. Bro, yeah. Think about it like this, y'all. If this woman did not have these children, would they have given her that house? These people like her that think like this use these children only to collect benefits from them, which is what we call hashtag babies for benefits. So now that the father from California has come down, and brother, if you're out there listening, go get emergency custody of your child right now. Take your child back with you to California and get your family attorney and figure that out real quick. You need to get custody of your kid. To the father of the 3-year-old, wherever the hell he's at, if you hear this story, you better go do the same thing. But the cold part about it, is she wouldn't even have this house without the kids. So if she loses the kids, which clearly she's about to, then guess what else she loses? She loses the house. Now, how cold is that? So she only got that house because she was being irresponsible and having babies with anybody that would have a baby by her or give her the seed to have a baby. And that's the mentality. And I think that's the thing that is wrong, that I think needs to be changed. And in some form or fashion, we can't keep rewarding that type of behavior. We can't keep incentivizing that type of behavior, especially if you want the world to get better. It ain't going to get better doing it that way. But let's keep going.
In Mobile, Alabama, where she was last seen.
We do have a warrant for Raven Yates, which is the mother. We have 2 counts of abandonment, endangering a child without intent to return.
Let me skip to the next video.
And
This is the last video.
A Montgomery County mother is wanted by police in 2 different states.
Oh. Uh-oh, hold on. I didn't mean to skip that far to go to this video, but it's okay. Let me show y'all this real quick. This is her with one of the kids. Let me see if I can stretch this out so y'all can see it. Totally forgot that I had this on there. Are there 2 fathers? Yes. There are 2 fathers, because in the news article, it said the 12-year-old's father contacted her and found out that the child was there alone, and he flew in from California to check on his 12-year-old daughter, which means he's not the father of the 3-year-old. So yes, there's at least 2 different dads. But check this out. This is one of the, and her page is still up. Y'all can go see this if you want to. That actually is her Facebook page, Raven Yates. It's the first thing that pops up. Just a ratchet ass broad. But check this out. This is one of her videos. I want y'all to see this.
I love you. I'm amazing. Say, I'm amazing. Look. Say, I'm amazing.
She was trying to force her child, her 3-year-old son, to say into the camera that she's an amazing person. Forcing him to say it.
I love you. I'm amazing. Say, I'm amazing. Look. Say, I'm amazing.
He didn't want to say that at all. Like, who does that, man? One more time, and then we'll wrap it up on this story.
I love you.
Somebody in the chat said it. The boy is a prop. She's just using these kids.
I love you. I'm amazing. Say, I'm amazing. Look. Say, I'm amazing.
Here's the cold part about it. She said that she's amazing. She refers to herself as amazing. But what's amazing is she wouldn't have none of what she has without her kids. So maybe the kids are the amazing ones. Maybe you need to be praising the kids. Maybe you need to be telling the kids, thank you. Thank you for giving me this big old house and all of this stuff that I didn't earn, that I couldn't afford, doing it on my own. Right? We won't be appreciative for our kids. We don't do the best for our kids. We don't want them to grow up and become something great. Literally, all this 13-year-old girl was learning was she was going to end up learning the behavior of her mom. And I'm glad that innocence of that child, because like I said, my daughter's a little bit older than 12 now, but I still understand what it's like to raise a girl. And that could be very damaging to the psyche of a girl to see her mother go off on a path like this, to abandon her and to tell her to lie to her dad. What that's going to end up doing to that little girl, if she would have been left in this situation, will probably be, well, if my mom, have y'all ever heard a parent say that? If it was good enough for me, then it's good enough for you. Like some of y'all that are old school like me might remember your parents saying something like that, which I always thought that was wrong. Because we ought to want our kids to have better. We ought to want to do better by our kids. Yeah, he was looking at her like, what are you doing? Thank you, Kurt. If it's good enough for me, then it's good enough for you. So basically what you're trying to teach your daughter is that me leaving you alone and abandoning you so I can go get some dick in a whole nother state, knowing that that's how we ended up being brought into this world anyway, is by you sleeping with a bunch of random men and not having no plan for their future, then maybe that's the way that maybe that's what I should do. I should get pregnant at 18. I should have a kid by multiple men and then wait on my Section 8 voucher to get approved, and then I can go get me a big house too, mama. Now we are in a perpetual cycle of foolishness. And when you're talking about Section 8, Section 8 is not supposed to be a thing, including food stamps, is not supposed to be a thing that you just stay on generation after generation after generation. It's supposed to be a step up. It's supposed to help you get from one place to the next, get yourself better, and then get independent. We want to scream independence, but there's the type of person that be in the club, INDEPEE, I'm independent. I'm a bad bitch. That's why she laughing. She don't care. She ain't gonna learn nothing. I'd say give her 15 years in prison. That'll give her long enough in prison until her son is grown. And then maybe some of her little stinking ovaries will dry up a little bit. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this story. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think on this story, okay? Thank you. This story definitely caught my attention for a number of different reasons when I saw it, because it said 12 kids, and I was like, what? 12? Not 4, not 5, 12. And I was like, what is the situation with this story? But if you read the title, let me just forewarn you, first of all, because I'm going to actually talk about this story from my personal aspect, and then I'm going to actually give some statistics that I think will actually wake a lot of people up that you might didn't know, okay? But let me give you a disclaimer before we get to that, and I don't want nobody to take this story the wrong way, because it is really sad, and I don't mean any disrespect to the young lady that passed away, but here's my disclaimer. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Yes, indeed. And please hit that thumbs up. It is free to support. But let's talk about the story out of Detroit. Now, I found a number of different websites, but I'm going to actually use hometownlife.com. So thank you for the article. So I want to always pay tribute to who we get these articles from. Nikita Washington gave birth to a son, and Nikita Washington is this young lady right here. Nathaniel at 10:56 p.m. on December the 22nd at Hutzel Hospital in Detroit. The following morning, when Davia Knox went to the hospital to meet her new nephew, she had no idea her sister, so I guess Davia is her sister, was experiencing complications. Out of the blue, they came and told me her oxygen had dropped below normal. They had to tube her, put her on a ventilator, and the next thing I know, the doctor said that I have to do an emergency surgery because she was bleeding from the inside. I said, do whatever you can to save her. She has 12 kids to live for. Please save my sister. Let me read that part again, because that's probably the most convoluted part in this entire story. She said, do whatever you can to save her. She has 12 kids to live for. Please save my sister. If y'all have a pen, a writing utensil, take your pen, Bookmark that part of the story. We'll come back to it because I got a lot to say about her and these 12 kids. 12 kids. 1, 2. Or is it 1, 2? Pretty sure it's like this. 12 kids. The effort was futile. Nikita, at age 35, died at 11:55 a.m. A dozen children were left motherless. That is sad. Let's keep going. Nikita's kids are not alone. They immediately were enveloped by Davia, her sister Jackie and Sharonda, and their mother, Patricia, the grandmother. There was never any doubt that the extended family would take Nikita's children in. 4, 8, 12. That means if they split these children up evenly, they would all have 4 additional people in their house. I'm sorry to the family. I'm going to say some stuff that's going to really make y'all upset, and I don't mean to make you upset. I'm merely trying to educate so that we don't get to a place like this. I'm sorry, but that is too much to ask of anybody. It'd be one thing to take on one child, but y'all know how hard it is to raise one child, let alone 2 or 3. What is anybody going to do with 12 kids, let alone if you split them up? That'd be 4 extra kids apiece. But hold on. Said me, my mom, and my sisters, we're going to make it happen for sure. When Keita was alive, we always helped her. The kids know that they're going to be good. We have no choice. No way they will be separated. In all actuality, you do have a choice. You just feel obligated emotionally to take care of these kids. And I get it, man. It's family. It's DNA. I get it. But check it out. The father of Nikita's older children is deceased. Let me say that again. The father of Nikita's older children is deceased. What does that mean? For those who have been listening to me for the longest. Multiple baby dads. Multiple baby dads. With 12 kids, there's no telling how many different dads that these kids probably have. The father of the older children. I mean, which one? You got 12. Like, we got to call that out specifically. The father of the younger children is in jail. God, no. Damn. Jailbird. The older child's dad is dead. The younger child's dads are in jail. How many of y'all are actually surprised? If not for willing relatives, the children would have gone into Michigan's foster care system, which is not a good thing. Instead, Nikita's children will join about 54,000 children in Michigan being raised by relatives after being separated from their biological parents for a variety of reasons. And you just added 12 more to that number. Beth Lidley, director of Kinship Care Resource Center in Michigan State University, said there is a general recognition that children who can't be with their parents have better outcomes with placed with family members or close friends rather than in foster homes. I mean, that's true. Still, the system is complicated. Do I need to read all of this? I think we understand that part. I think some of this I can skip because this is a pretty lengthy article. Kinship is best. Yes. Keeping the kids together is priority. Yes. Family picking up the pieces. Let's talk about this part. Looking ahead, Davia's worries are much larger than getting her niece to prom. She wants the children to have their own space, but she and Joseph were forced to move to a smaller home when their 5-bedroom home was damaged by a fire last year. It takes 2 car trips to get the children to school if all of them are staying in Davia's home. For now, the 2 of the youngest children, David, who's 3 years old, and a newborn baby, Nathaniel, which I saw a picture a minute ago, stay with Davia. The older children, Serenity and Cassidy, 16 years old, Antonio, 15 years old, Jesse, 13 years old, Terrence, 11 years old, Jayla, 9 years old, Yana, 7 years old, Dayana, 5 years old, stay with their grandmother because they can walk to school from her house. Noah, who is 1 year old, is also staying with grandma because he is particularly attached to Serenity, as he probably sees that as his surrogate mom. So she passed away at 35 years old, and her oldest child is 16. The 2 oldest are 16. So are they twins? So she got pregnant with them at 18 and just never stopped having kids. Davia said her husband, Joseph, works 3 jobs, driving the hearse for Cottrell, providing security at Travis Sports Bar and Grill at night, and working as a high-low driver at Universal, a logistics and transportation company on Georgia Street. Davia works there too, and she also plans to go back to working at a nursing home after she renews her license as a certified nursing assistant. She says she's always had to help with the children from her mother or Joseph's grandmother, a 69-year-old who has the energy of a 20-something. Why the hell would they even say that? Let me see. All right. Let's cut the bull crap. Let's talk about some statistics. First of all, let's talk about something I've talked about, and I want the people in the chat, if you've ever watched my channel before, tell me, is this not something that I've talked about before? First and foremost, I always encourage that people consider the amount of kids that you are going to have before you start having them, because there's a plethora of things that could happen. The person you had kids with may or may not be there. We're not having these kids in marriage, so there's a good likelihood that you're probably not going to keep raising these children under one roof. So it's probably best to not have multiple children. That's number one. Number two, how expensive is it in 2013 all the way up to 2023 to raise children? Do you know how much the hospital bills are? I'm familiar. I think my daughter's mom told me one time, and I was just like, Lord have mercy. It's expensive as shit. Excuse my language. Let alone to buy formula, diapers, wipes, clothes, food for the older kids. How do you have a house big enough for 12, mom 13, boyfriend 14? 14 people. What kind of house do you think that they lived in? And I'm not trying to diss the mother, but what I'm saying is, let's say if she survived, what type of a house or an apartment do you think they lived in? Do y'all think that they had, that's literally the size of a mansion. If you have a place that is better than what? 6 bedrooms? You would almost, on a minimum, have to have at least 6 bedrooms, and I can almost guarantee y'all that she couldn't afford a 6-bedroom house. If you had 2 houses, you probably wouldn't have enough space for all of these kids combined. They were probably sleeping 5 to a room, depending on the size of the house. So that's a problem in itself. Everybody's literally on top of each other. That's not healthy to raise kids. On top of that, the more people you bring into this world is also the more people that eventually at some point are going to leave this world. When we talk about people dying from unknown causes, and one of the things that I advocate for, life insurance. I want y'all to think about how insane having 12 children is before we start talking about these statistics. I have people who email me all the time when I say, don't go get a GoFundMe. We'll talk about the GoFundMe here in a moment. And I say, don't get a GoFundMe. You should have had life insurance. Don't use GoFundMe as a supplement to life insurance. And they're just like, well, Jay, you don't understand how expensive life insurance is. You know what my response to that is? This is the stuff that we need to be thinking about before we have children. The same way that you need to be thinking about this before you go buy a car that you're going to have what? Insurance. You're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have maintenance for it. Maybe you don't need to go to one of those buy here, pay here dealers and be paying $400 a week for a car, knowing that if something breaks on it, you're going to go have to fix it out of your pocket. Maybe you don't need the 2023, the 2022. Maybe you need to do like some of us and go get your 2005. Right? Maybe we need to play how we weigh until we can get to a better space. Right? Let's talk about another thing that I've talked about quite a bit for a long time. Gerber Life, thank you. Post it in the chat. If I've talked about this before, feel free to post it in the chat and tell me if I'm lying. I know most of this is going to be just my personal commentary because we've already talked about the news article. Another thing that I talked about is the rate that women in America die giving childbirth. Now, I did hear Tommy talk about this before. I've also talked about this as well. Shout out to Tommy. Like I say, I know I want to make sure that regardless of where I get it from, if I know I've heard him say it recently, I definitely want to give him a shout out. But shout out to Tommy also. The rate that women die giving childbirth is extremely high and is actually higher than any other country in the world, in America, in the North America, in the United States. Now, plenty of y'all have heard me say that before. Google says it's over $300,000 per child to raise from birth to 18 years old. Multiply that by 12. And tell me, did she have a plan to take care of those children? What does she do for a living? She was having children like she freaking worked for Elon Musk or something like that. Maybe she had a secret love child by Bill Gates that maybe we didn't know about. Maybe she had a trust fund from, I don't know. Maybe she had a rich grandpa that owned a oil rig or something like that, and he set her up with about $60 million in a trust fund by the time she turned 40 years old. I don't understand when you have so many women, and I tell y'all this because I love y'all, and I know most of the people that watch my channel are women, and we can not only share this information with each other, but we can also share this with the younger generation, and best believe that I'm about to probably start having these conversations with my daughter too, before she decides to go out into the world when she becomes grown in a couple years and make her own decisions. There is a high probability that if you give birth in the United States of America, you could die giving birth. How many of y'all knew that? Even if it's just one kid. I could even speak to a friend of mine in Oklahoma. I'm not going to give her name out. She had twins, and I remember she told me that she almost died giving birth to her twins. Told me personally. That's why I'm not going to put her name out there. I say that because it's that serious. I say that because I care that much. I cry and whine about it on my channel because I'm hoping that at some point, maybe a video like this will get 1 million views, 500,000. Maybe this one will get 100,000. I just want somebody to hear this message. Matter of fact, don't just take my word for it. Go to the CDC. Let me show you a little something here. This is why I got these graphics up here. You don't have to take my word for it. Let's start with this one since it's the first one that's up. Let me say thank you real quick to Keisha Johnson. Welcome to the channel membership. And to Latanya 1707, welcome. Don't take my word for it. Go to the CDC.com and you can find these stats. Check this out. Because I have about 4 or 5 of these I need to show you. Trends in pregnancy related to mortality in the United States since 1987 all the way to 2018. And if you notice, every handful of years, it goes up. And it is more than double from 87 to 18. That's per 100,000 live births. That is crazy when you think about it. Y'all ready to go to the next one? We're going to talk about that too. Oh, and I forgot to show y'all the GoFundMe. Sorry, I meant to do that. So if y'all do want to support the GoFundMe, feel free. Y'all know they going to, look, if y'all gave them $1 million, they still wouldn't be able to raise all 12 of these kids properly. I'm sorry, but that's just too many kids. They asked for $75,000 and they raised $76,000 so far. So I guess that's a good thing. Davia Knox is the organizer. Somebody donated $3,000. Wow, Jesus. I know people feel sorry and they're trying to help out, I guess. I feel you. Let's talk about a couple more charts. So yeah, they're going to get them almost $100,000 in GoFundMe. That's still not going to be enough. Let's talk about the disparity, because a lot of people talk about, well, you know, it's a black thing. Because you're actually going to hear the grandmother talk about this, which is why I'm bringing this part up. The grandmother is actually trying to say and insinuate that maybe the doctors might have done something wrong and maybe this has something to do with her race. Believe it or not. I'll show it in the video, and I don't mean any malice, but I'm just speaking on what I believe I heard. Maybe I didn't hear it right. Pregnancy-related mortality ratio by ethnicity, race and ethnicity between just in a 2-year span. Hispanics are on the lower end of this per 100,000 live births. Non-Hispanic blacks are higher than everybody on the list per 100,000 births. On the left-hand side of my graph, that's the blacks. 41.4, and that's just within a 24-month span. Hashtag babies for benefits. Thank you. How many of you guys have heard me talk about people being obese? How many of y'all have heard me crack jokes about people who are overweight, walking around big, even though I'm big and overweight myself? Because I want y'all to remember, most of what I say and I'm excoriating other people is usually me excoriating myself also. So it doesn't exclude me. It actually includes me. Like, I actually have to take medicine because my health is bad. So I'm trying to educate people even from shit that I understand from my own personal life. Right? Let's talk about this part. Let's talk about how unhealthy it is. The graph that I showed you guys shows percentages of pregnancy-related deaths in the United States during 2016 to 2018 that are caused by other cardiovascular conditions, 16.2%, infection or sepsis, 13.9%, cardiomyopathy, I almost messed that word up, cardiomyopathy, 12.5%, hemorrhage, 11%, thrombic pulmonary or other embolism, 9.4%. So what? 1, 2, 3 of those, 4 of those are heart-related, health-related. Cerebrovascular accidents, 7.0%. Hypertension disorders of pregnancy, 6.8%. Hypertension has a lot to do with being overweight. Amniotic fluid embolism, 5.7%. I don't know how I was able to pronounce that. Anesthesia complications, 0.2%. Other non-cardiovascular medical conditions, 11.4%. The cause of death is unknown for 6.0 of all 26 to 2018 pregnancy-related deaths. And guess who that involves? Nothing but women. That strictly involves women. So I think that we should all care about that. If y'all care about women, I think we should all care about that. Let me give a shout out real quick for all that you do, Jay, for the kids. And even if you change one person's life, then it's all worth your work. We love you here in Canada. Just me, Double D, man. You made my night. Thank you so much for that. Awesome comment. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. A little bit more I want to talk about here. Hold on. Where is it at? Want y'all to look at this. How many of y'all have heard me talk about insurance? I know this is a lot before we get to the videos, but y'all need to understand why I thought the video interviews were crazy, and this is why. I took this out of the CDC, or was it? Yeah, I think it was the CDC. No. This was out of one of the news articles. It said black women are more likely to be uninsured outside of pregnancy when Medicaid kicks in, and thus more likely to start prenatal care later and lose coverage in postpartum period. Let's stop right there. You know, they actually try to make this a race thing to say that white people die less, white women die less giving childbirth than black women. And they try to say that the doctors must be discriminating, and what are they doing that's causing black women to die giving childbirth? That's not their doing. First of all, childbirth in itself is extremely dangerous, no matter what you do. Any woman and every woman could possibly die from giving childbirth, which is why we hold it in such high regard, why we love our mamas and we appreciate our mamas so much. Now we hold our mamas in high regard because of what they have to go through to get us here. Because any and all could die from giving childbirth. But they try to make it seem like it's something wrong and they're doing something different with blacks, when in all actuality, guess what they don't have? Insurance. Health insurance, life insurance. 2 strikes. How many times have I pointed to that? Let's keep going. So they say they wait until Medicaid kicks in, then they start getting the treatment, which they should have got from the jump, which means that you should have not gotten pregnant before you were prepared. Self-accountability. It also says they are more likely to have chronic conditions such as obesity, which I talked about, diabetes, and hypertension that make having a baby more dangerous. The hospitals where they give birth are often the products of historical segregation, lower in quality than those where white mothers deliver, with significantly higher rates of life-threatening complications. But here's the thing. You could die even if you don't give childbirth from hypertension, from diabetes, from obesity. Let me say that again. Those things, from bad health and eating bad and not knowing really what the health is doing because you don't never go to the damn doctor, could cause you to die regardless of whether you have a kid or not. So when you have a kid, all it does is just amplify that. Responsibility, thank you. Let's look at this. I think y'all might find this one interesting. I want to talk about the comments also. Matter of fact, I'm going to show the videos first. Let's talk about this one. Considerable racial, ethnic disparities in pregnancy related to mortality exist. During 2016 to 2018, the pregnancy-related mortality ratios were 41.4 deaths per 100,000 live births for non-Hispanics, which is blacks. And y'all have already seen that graph. In 2018, the PRMR was 9.5 deaths per 100,000 births for non-Hispanic multiple race persons. Variability in the risk of death by race or ethnicity may be due to several factors, including access to care, which means you were not prepared, quality of care, prevalence of chronic diseases, which means you weren't taking care of your health, structural racism, which is bullcrap, and implicit biases, which is absolute bullcrap. Nobody is working in those jobs and saying, I don't want to help those black people. What nurse, what doctor is saying that? That's flat out fucking stupid. Let me show y'all some of these comments. Well, you're not going to be able to really see it. If y'all think doctors are racist, y'all need to get the hell out of here. You might not be able to read this, but I took a screenshot of some of the comments that was on this video. Somebody said, who can afford 12 kids nowadays? Like, this is so sad. Now, grandma is left to raise them. I hope the family pulls together to help her out. R.I.P. Nikita. Out of 12 kids, none of their fathers were willing to take in their own children, and that's sickening. Very true statement. I'm going to donate to the family. It just seems like the right thing to do. Feel for that grandmother and those kids. Somebody else said, I pray this grandmother finds the strength and the courage to get through the days that are ahead of her. This 35-year-old woman left her mother with 12 kids and no stability for those kids. Now grandma has to raise all of them with no help. This is so sad of our community. Wow. Last person said, I feel so sorry for the kids. They came into the world with all kinds of odds against them. Losing their mother increases those odds. One question, where is or are the father or fathers? It's their responsibility to take care of those kids. And I agree. You got 12 kids. I'm sure there's at least, 5 baby daddies? Let me give y'all the fair use. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. And I sincerely hope that I didn't bore you guys to sleep with all of that. I just had a lot to say. So for those who are still listening, do me a favor and please click that thumbs up and share this video. I want more people to see it. But also, more importantly, please leave a comment. Let me know what your real thoughts are about this. If y'all got some thoughts, don't be scared to let me know what your thoughts are, okay? So here we go. Oh, hold on. Let me fix that. And let me give a shout out real quick to the special one. Welcome to the channel membership. Welcome to the chat. Thank you. Thank you. I see you in there. And also let me say thank you to Angel. Angel joined the channel membership. Shout out to Angel. Is this? Oh, I can't move this thing. Hold on. There we go. Had to fix that video. Here we go.
The new reality that's heartbreaking and difficult to accept.
Even though I went to the funeral and I seen her gone, but my child right here.
Back in December, Patricia Bouncy says her daughter, Nikita Washington, went to Harper University Hospital to have this bundle of joy, Nathaniel, her 12th child. But only Nathaniel came home.
And I said,
that is a beautiful little boy. Man, these kids are just... She just didn't care about how to raise these kids at all. That is a beautiful little baby. And look at her son. You could tell he loves his siblings. That is beautiful, man. But it is not these children's responsibility to raise themselves. This is mom and dad's fault. This is mom and dad's problem. This is mom and dad's responsibility. And none of them are there to take care of their responsibilities.
Nathaniel, her 12th child, but only Nathaniel came home.
And I said, Lord Jesus, you ain't calling to tell me what you think. I think you telling me. She said, yes, Mama, Nikita is gone.
Nikita died at just 35 years old. Several of her children, who you see here, are so young, but already know pain.
They taking it hard. They have good days, and they have bad days.
And now the entire family is searching for answers as they wait for the results from an autopsy.
If she died naturally, I want to know. If one of them doctors did something, I want to know that too.
Fox 2 reached out to Detroit.
Let's stop the video right there. And this is where me and Grandma are definitely not going to see eye to eye. Let me let y'all hear this again.
If she died naturally, I want to know. If one of them doctors did something, I want to know that too.
From an autopsy.
If she died naturally, I want to know. If one of them doctors did something, I want to know that too.
Ma'am, Grandma, just because she's a nice person, just because she's innocent in this story, does not absolve her from castigation. Ma'am, why on God's green earth would you say something like that if the doctors did something to her? I want you to think about how dumb and uneducated that is, what you just said. Your daughter, being a big girl, let me show you guys something, and I don't mean any disrespect to her. Let me show you the mom again. Right here. That's her. She's not a small woman, which leads me to believe that she probably was unhealthy. Most of us who are big are unhealthy. On top of that, even if you were the healthiest person on earth, opening up your vag and dilating 10 centimeters. Think about that. I only remember that number because I remember when they were telling me my daughter's mom was dilated. I was like, oh, Jesus. I remember that day. I will never forget that day. Just, woo, there's a lot to look at there. You are opening up your vaginal walls and splitting your body apart and bleeding. You're going to bleed no matter what. Every time you have a kid, our bodies ain't really set up to have no 12 kids like that. It's risky to have one kid. It's risky to have 2 or 3. But most people who have had anywhere from 1 to 3 kids will tell you that they had some complications. Ask some mothers. I've talked to them. I know. Most people have complications. But ma'am, you were lucky. You're talking about what the doctors did. So what? What did they do? What did they do to your daughter, ma'am? 11 times. And you feel like they screwed you on the 12th one? Really? Is that what you're trying to insinuate? You got to be just careful. I know she's a good, nice mama, y'all. But that's the accountability that I'm talking about. And she didn't hold her daughter accountable and tell her, I don't think you should be having no 12 kids, y'all. I think you might have enough kids, ma'am. You got 10 of them things. Maybe you need to cool off your oven. Unplug it, ma'am. Guarantee you she didn't tell her daughter just like, it's my body, it's my choice. I can do what I want, y'all. My body, my choice, and it's also your consequence. There are consequences to choices. This is one of them. Have I said something that's wrong?
Naturally, I want to know. If one of them doctors did something, I want to know that.
Shout out to our chat. One of my awesome people in the chat said her body just gave out. Yes. What the hell else do you expect after 12 kids? Ma'am, your body can't do nothing else. Like you can't be that level of dumb. Unplug the oven.
Fox 2 reached out to Detroit Medical Center, and we were sent this statement offering condolences, but telling us that due to patient privacy laws, they can't discuss this case.
I'm hurt. I'm confused.
But this grandmother says she must fight to keep Nikita's children together, the oldest being 19 to the youngest, Nathaniel, who is barely 2 months old.
I already thought about it, and I will fight to keep them together and keep them with me.
And that means this family needs help.
I have all 12 of our kids right now, so I got to get a bigger house because my house too small.
She says she needs to get a bigger house because her house is too small. And that I understand, because from that perspective, and I told you, I don't hate the grandmother. I don't. I just didn't like the fact that she even insinuated that, because she's breeding a bad mentality, which is why her daughter didn't learn nothing. So yes, she's going to have to get a bigger house because this wasn't her doing. This wasn't her responsibility. Maybe the mentality of her daughter is her responsibility, but it was her daughter's choice. Her daughter was grown and decided to bring all those children into this world with no plan for them. And now she's gone, y'all. She gone, y'all. So what now? Somebody's got to do for the kids. You could either watch those kids be marched off into the system, or you can say, y'all could just stay here with me. And as a parent, I totally get that. I understand that. But here's another dumb piece of information. I want y'all to hear this.
Is not only in need of a new place to call home, they also need a new vehicle. This family vehicle was involved in an accident and it's barely drivable. A GoFundMe account to call home, they also need a new vehicle. This to call home, they also need a new vehicle. Family is not only in need of a new place to call home, they also need a new vehicle.
Here's my problem with that. Before her 12th child, you already needed a bigger home and a new vehicle. Before her 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th, 5, 4, 3, 2, first child, you already needed a bigger house and a new vehicle. But I want y'all to look at this. Look at this.
This family vehicle wasn't.
I want y'all to look at that. Look at that wheel, and you could tell by all the rust that's on there that that thing had been sitting for a while. Look at what I want y'all to take a look at this.
To call home, they also need a new vehicle. This family vehicle was involved in an accident and it's barely drivable.
They said this family vehicle was involved in an accident and it's barely drivable. Did y'all see the front end on that thing? Both of the tires are flat as hell. Those tires, like you could tell, like, well, I can tell because I work on cars. I got cars myself and I got to work on them all the damn time on my SUVs. And I'm telling you, that thing looks like it's been sitting for a while. That is not barely drivable. That is effed up from the flow up. That thing ain't. When was the last time that thing was drivable?
They also need a new vehicle.
Look at that. You're telling me that's barely drivable? Really? With that type of front end damage? Probably done bent the drive shaft, the axles, the bushings, everything. They already had a need. Yeah, that thing was never drivable. Thank you. They already had those needs. And that's part of what I'm talking about. This is where Babies for Benefits comes in. Because now you have a tragedy that you can display on the news, and now everybody can see your story, and now you can say, please, 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 GoFundMe, and now boom. And the powers bestowed upon me, I now present you $100,000 by way of GoFundMe. when you already had this issue before her death?
Vehicle was involved in an accident and is barely drivable. A GoFundMe account has been started on behalf of the family to help them get a new start.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all can see this on my screen. They initially, and I want y'all to understand how insane this is. So Davia Knox, I'm going to put this on you. I'm going to show y'all something because y'all changed that number. They initially said help for burial and her kids. She put up a $10,000 GoFundMe and they had already collected $8,000 out of the $10,000. So why is it that when I went to GoFundMe, pulled up the same page, now the GoFundMe goal is at $75,000? Let me ask a question. Unless we're just slower than a bottle of molasses. You knew that she had 12 kids. You knew that she passed away. You knew that she probably didn't have life insurance. Y'all were probably going to be responsible for her burial at the tune of probably about $10,000. Y'all knew that y'all probably going to have to help and take her kids in because y'all knew that them baby daddies wasn't shit. Half of them in jail. Half of them are dead. And y'all knew y'all didn't want them to go into the foster care system, so you knew you were going to have to take care of them. All in all, you put up a GoFundMe asking for $10,000. So how do we all of a sudden get to $75,000? Here's what I believe. What I believe should have happened was you should have kept it at $10,000. And if people wanted to donate up to $75,000 or $100,000, then by all means, do that. They can over donate. You can actually do that. You can reach your goal and they can pass it up as much as they want to. But to just keep raising the number up and raising the number up, see, that's when I start to have a problem because I'm like, wait a minute, what are we really doing here? Is that really going to be used for the kids? Is that really going to better their lives? And it really don't even matter what you give them. Like I said, you give them $1 million, they're not going to be able to raise 12 kids. Said all 4 tires are flat, man. I don't understand. I don't. Matter of fact, I want y'all to think about this. Think about this. How many brand new vehicles would you have to buy in order to drive around 12 kids plus 1 driver? Think about that. Let's just say that they go and more than likely going to buy a brand new vehicle that don't have no mechanical issues, right? They're going to go out and go get a 2023. And I'm just being practical. A 2023 Suburban is going to cost you about 75, let's just say on the low side, no features, 60,000. That's on the low side because I think most Suburbans are about 100,000. $60,000 that will seat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people maybe? Maybe I'm doing the math wrong. You'd have to have at least 2 vehicles. That's going to eat up all of that money just to get a fucking car. Let's just say that they fix that piece of shit up. They take the money and go spend to fix that wrecked up car. I don't know. That probably cost them $10,000, $15,000 with the type of damage it had to get it back up and running. Now they're back good. They're talking about they need a new house. How much is that going to cost to get a bigger house enough to even house half of those 12 kids? If you need a quote unquote bigger house, how much would that cost? Think about this. Let's just say if Yeah, they'd have to get a bus damn near. Let's just say that you get a house, and I'm sorry, I know this video was long, and I'm so sorry about that, but I'm just really thinking about this. You get a house, $150,000 house, 5 bedrooms if you make the garage a bedroom. $150,000. Let's just say if they give you all of that in GoFundMe, guess what you're going to also need? Money to pay the bills every month in that bigger house. How are you going to pay electricity, gas, water, and pay for food for 12 to 14 people in one house if you spend it all getting a new house? So are you telling me that people want to help these people? That literally means you would have to take care of them every single month until these kids grow up and become 18 years old. Which for the youngest child, that's got to be 18 years from now. Is that really what we're doing? You go buy them a house, what you don't want them to do is get kicked out after 12 months of living in that house, do you? You don't want their electricity to get cut off of this big old house. But what do we do? What do we do?
To learn how you can donate, go to fox2detroit.com.
We're taking an in-depth look into a stunning statistic. American mothers dying from childbirth. Coast to coast, Georgia is the worst in the nation, even though the causes are preventable. Our docu-series, Mothers Matter, reveals the lasting impact on local families as they deal with the loss.
I can really brag on my wife all day long. And we're talking about a woman that spoke 5 languages, that raced cars, that was so compassionate, so...
And I want y'all to hear this couple's story, and this, I believe, is just them trying to have their second child. And this woman actually looked like she's in pretty good shape. I don't know about her health, but having childbirth is risky anyway. I want y'all to hear their story.
Loving. We would always kind of joke that our life is like a movie. For Kira and I, we always wanted back-to-back boys. When we found out that we were welcoming another boy, we were just ecstatic. Kira was exceptionally healthy. Every single prenatal visit that we went to, she got great reports. The baby was healthy.
Hi, Daddy. Hi.
So she got great reports and that she was healthy. Let's keep going.
5 minutes.
Hey, Langston. We're waiting on you, buddy. Everybody's here to celebrate.
Shortly after Langston was born, they took us back to recovery. Kira's sitting there, and I first noticed that there was blood in the catheter at her bedside. I brought it to the attention of the nurses and the doctors. They ordered a CT scan that was supposed to be performed stat, right? And so stat, in my mind, I'm thinking that means immediately. The doctor's walking next to the bed, and he says to me, I'm gonna fix it, and she'll be back in 15 minutes. She'll be back in 15 minutes. And that was the last time I saw Kira alive.
Real quick, let me pause this just for a second. Let me back this up. Real quick, I want to say thank you because I know y'all probably didn't hear me say it. So Yvonne J, I think you're in the chat. Thank you for your donation by way of Cash App to is it Nigela? I hope I said your name correctly. First initial N, last initial K in Cash App. If you're listening, I want to say thank you. I did get your donation. And also to Sorrowful Angel, where are you at? I want to show you. I want to show you how much you mean to me. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do for our most vulnerable, our children. I want to make sure I could actually read your message. And I did get that. So Sorrowful Angel, if you're listening, sweetheart, thank you. I got your PayPal. And I will keep the amount that you donated private, but you know I am always so honored because you showed me so much love, and I truly appreciate that. So if you're listening, Sorrowful Angel, I want to say thank you. I hope you're still out there. I don't know if you stepped away, but I want to say thank you.
I'm going to fix it. She'll be back in 15 minutes. She'll be back in 15 minutes. And that was the last time I saw Kira alive.
It's this beautiful baby. Thank God he's born perfectly healthy and he's amazing. And then less than 12 hours, she's dead.
She used to be a judge on TV, and I used to watch Judge Hatchett a lot. Still a good-looking lady. She older now, but still a good-looking lady, though. I just feel bad for her. She's actually the mother-in-law. Hospital, it says Kira Johnson's death was a tragedy. Cedars-Sinai strongly agrees with Mr. Johnson and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists that no mother should die giving birth, to provide the highest quality care to our patients.
Black
yes,
women.
And yes, I definitely did my homework for this because I wanted people to really understand why I make such a big deal about being overweight and having all of these kids and the financial ramifications and how hard it is for a woman's body, for those who might not realize that, to have kids. And this woman was only working on her second child and died from complications. Not her 12th, not her 11th or 10th. And she was healthy.
3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes. You know, that's just a fact. So it's wrong that that exists.
According to the CDC, y'all can look it up, black women are more at risk than any other race.
Why is it that black women are more likely to die from complications than white women?
All right, so Jeremy, your team...
And we've already talked about that. And this part I could actually, well, I'll play it out. But the reason why, they don't get prenatal care. The reason why is they can't afford insurance. Another reason why, because we're not in proper shape and we're unhealthy in general.
Found that this is even an issue when the mothers survive.
Yeah, as we were investigating this issue, a lot of people started telling us that almost happened to me. And we found that there is an issue with what are called near-miss moms. That's when a mom almost dies due to some type of mostly preventable threat in the delivery process. And we discovered that's happening 137 times per day. That's every 10 minutes. And it's leaving a lot of families afraid to have more children.
No, it's certainly having an impact because this has been viewed more than 1 million times. And a lot of people were really just surprised just how serious this risk is.
It's especially a risk for black women. According to the CDC, they face a 3 to 4 times higher risk than all other races. But there are things that can be done to help new moms. We've posted a checklist of things that you can follow that will help have a safer delivery.
Control the things you can control. Have insurance. Be healthy. Aren't those things we can control? Maybe after you've pushed your luck so far, eventually luck runs out. And I think that's what happened in this situation. And what happened to her is what happens to most mothers, most women, when they give birth and they're putting themselves at risk of potentially losing their lives in order to try to bring a child into this world. It's a very dangerous thing to do. RIP to the mother. We pray for the kids. Hopefully they can get this whole family thing figured out. 12 kids, that's a whole lot of people to try to figure out something for, and they just don't have a plan. The mom didn't have a plan for them. But it's just really sad. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I know I said a lot. It's probably one of my longest videos, but it's that important to me. If this video never goes viral, then I get it. But I would hope that if I ever had one to go viral, maybe it would be this one. Like, share, and subscribe, and please leave a comment. But share it somewhere. Tell me where I'm wrong if I've said something that's inaccurate. Thank you.